Lieutenant Charles Hampton, Hampton, Homicide Commander. Thank you for coming out this afternoon. We're here to bring back on November 29th, 2014, shortly before 2 o'clock in the morning, there was a homicide at 1671 Richmond Avenue. This particular homicide, we had 3 victims who were executed inside the home. We had Joshua Barkley, Ricky Ricklott, and Marcus Gay. All 3 were shot multiple times and left on the scene. We're asking the community to come forward, to do the right thing. You can call Crime Stoppers where you can remain anonymous, but we're asking that we find out and get the individuals who are responsible for these triple homicide that we had last year. This homicide happened shortly after Thanksgiving, and as we approach this Thanksgiving holiday, we would love to bring some type of closure for the family that's standing behind me. But again, we're asking anyone who heard, saw anything on November 29th, 2014 to come forward. We had actually, what we believe there were 6 people that were inside the home. We had 2 other victims who received gunshot wounds, were treated and released. Another individual who's also cooperating. We have a sketch of 2 individuals that's also been disseminated to you guys. And again, we're asking anyone, if they recognize any individuals, doesn't matter how insignificant of anything that you have, again, that you come forward. You can call Crime Stoppers where you can remain anonymous and also potentially receive some type of monetary reward to help us capture the individuals responsible for this brutal homicide. At this time, I believe a couple of family members will also come forward and like to speak.
Hello, I'm Barbara Parker, and this is my husband, Curtis Parker. We're the parents of Marcus Gay, and we're also asking that if anyone has any information on this crime, that they do come forward and give their information to the detective or the police department.
I'm Lisa Barkley, and I'm the mother of Joshua Barkley. If anybody know anything, you can remain anonymous. Just please, any little bit of help. Sunday will be a year, and they didn't deserve this. This have torn my family apart. All we want is justice for Joshua and Marcus and the other young man. Please, somebody, call somebody. Thank you.
Again, we thank you. Again, you can see the emotional effect that this is having on the family. Again, we're asking the public to do the right thing, help us bring closure to this family as we prepare and come upon Thanksgiving again. Thank you. Good afternoon, Lieutenant Charles Hampton, Hampton, Homicide Commander. On November 9th, APD officers responded to a apartment complex to a injured child. The child was transported to Hugh Spalding's and then later transported to Eggleston Hospital. On November 11th, the child was ruled deceased, but they kept the baby on life support to harvest the organs. And on November 14th, the child, the death was ruled a homicide. Currently, homicide investigators are investigating this case. Again, it's involving a 9-month-old child. The child had some significant injuries, as well as there may be some evidence of a sexual assault. We're not releasing a whole lot of information because with this possibility that it could compromise the investigation. That's why I didn't say anything about the address. We're just trying to get as much information that we can without news coverage, so people can kind of continue with their day-to-day. So when we're ready to make a move, we don't have to do too much searching. But again, it's a tragic incident. right now we're getting cooperations from the mother, and I believe the funeral may have been today. But again, it's very sensitive in nature, and that's why we're reluctant to release a lot of information at this time. And we just ask that you just bear with us as we complete our investigation, because we believe that any too much information may jeopardize the current investigation.
Can you tell us the sex of the person that the mother, I guess it's a neighbor that the mother left the children with, and how old were the other children?
I don't have the information for the other children. I know right now they're currently in DFAC's custody, and again, that's just a standard protocol. There may be a male and a female that may have been left in the care, but again, all that is still under investigation. We need to zero in on a few critical pieces. So we're asking, still interviewing the mom just to make sure that we're getting all the correct information. And that's kind of understandable since, again, she lost a 9-month child. And so we have to delicately treat her so we can get the information, but we also are working very hard to bring the individual or individuals who's going to be responsible for this child's death.
So she left the child with one neighbor?
Again, it's still early. What she's telling us is that she left the child, with a neighbor. Again, we're not sure if it's more than one, and that's what we're trying to ascertain exactly, who was left in the care, and we just need to still make sure that that's exactly what happened. But that's the information that she's given us, and we're doing our due diligence to see if that's exactly what happened.
Are the injuries consistent with a fall, or where are the injuries?
The injuries are, again, they had some old injuries, some injuries that healed. I believe this child has just been abused for quite a while. So again, it's a small child. The injuries are kind of all over. So it's to answer your question, I don't believe it's a fall, but it's some serious injuries. Okay.
How are you developing?
The old-fashioned way of going out and knocking on doors. The lead investigator has, since we got it in homicide, has been working, around the clock, interviewing, re-interviewing, and asking neighbors if they heard or saw anything. So it's a lot of work involved in this particular case. But the lead investigator has made some tremendous progress. It's just, again, we just have to make sure that we build a great case to bring forward. Because like I said, anything involving any child, we just want to make sure that we're in our investigations, but really we want to make sure that all our I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Any chance the mother could be charged? You're talking about old injuries?
It's too early to say. Again, we'll look into everything in this particular case. But right now we're trying to find out, obviously, who's responsible for the death. But we'll ask those questions. Those are questions that are being asked.
What can you tell us about the apartment? I mean, I know you don't want to give us the address. Southwest Atlanta. Can you give us an area, a neighborhood, Ben Hill?
Zone 4. Zone 4.
Southwest Atlanta.
Zone 4.
Cascade Road area?
That's all I'm gonna say. Zone 4 at this time. I just I realize you want more information, but again we just want to proceed with caution. I just don't want a lot of with the media and people being interviewed. At this point, I think it would jeopardize our investigation, and we're just not trying to do that at this point. I believe, it may be soon that we can release a little bit more information, but at this moment, as of today, we're not ready to release any further information.
As early as tomorrow? Or?
That's too soon.
Any update on that homicide that was a month ago this Friday? The guy that was shot over by the elementary school.
Oh, Mary Street.
Mary Street.
Yes, we've actually made an arrest in that case. Thank you. We made 2 arrests in that case on Mary Street.
Came from the video that you
That was
guys put out?
that was extremely helpful. You know, it being aired, people came forward and told us who we need to look for. So yes, the video was definitely helpful.
I thought I sent that out, but I'll send it again.
You may have.